Beautiful gemstones. Welcome to Monday Madness, Monday afternoon. I'm still not sure what to call this one, but thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us. I see the little eye has 4 people, but I only see slow motion so far. But whoever is in here, I'm sure it'll pop up soon. Thank you so much for coming to join us. We're still trying to get our bearings with this stream and see if this is a time that works for us. And that works for you guys too, because we don't want to just stream for nobody, of course. So let me bring in Steven, and then I just did the video on tulpas, so we can start there, or we can discuss anything that is on your guys' pretty little minds. All right, so let's bring him in.
Hello. Hello, Slow. Hello, Shelly.
Shelly. What's up, everybody? So I hope everyone had a tremendously amazing weekend. I know I did. I was really excited to put the tulpa video out because it's something that I've been wanting to cover for a really long time. And, you know, I don't know what you guys thought. Hey, Miss Pixie. Hello, baby UFO. About imaginary friends being tulpas. I brought it up in stream because I believe that they are. But for someone like me whose imaginary friends were deceased, I'm not sure, because I didn't have to make up imaginary friends. So I just wonder, like, have any of you guys had experiences with tulpas in general? And what's your thoughts on the imaginary friend angle?
Well, first
Stephen,
of all,
let's start with you.
Well, see, the tulpa thing's an interesting concept because you can literally manifest anything, including creatures and entities. And 5 p.m. there. But I think some of the things that I've seen when I was younger might have been me just so overwhelmed with what I'm seeing. I just expected to see stuff. So I think maybe when I was younger, some of the stuff was actually in my head or I
Hi,
created
Richard. Hi,
it.
Charlie. Yeah, but I mean, like, personal experiences from people like us and a lot of the people in the chat, we have abilities. We're and I don't like to use that term, but we kind of are. You know, we have these things that we can do and that we can see. This whole other world that a lot of the rest of humanity isn't privy to yet. It's like that's what's going to come with the spiritual awakening. With I believe in the new earth. I know a lot of people don't, and that's okay. You don't have to agree with me for us to be friends and for me to love you dearly. But that's what people are going to be privy to, as far as what my opinion is, when we get to the 5D, right? When we have this shift, which I believe may start a little bit, but from what I understand from my spirit guides, is nobody that's alive right now will also be alive when we have the shift.
Right.
Because you have to look at it, and I'm going to get back to tulpas in a minute because Lara, yeah. I agree, Lara. Like, let me finish the one point in my head first. So I was going to say, people like us, it's hard because we for our own experience, and our own experience is what validates it for us. But if it's somebody, and my Wi-Fi is looking weird, I really hope we don't have issues. But somebody who doesn't have those abilities, like, that's what I want to know. Do you believe, like, if you've had an imaginary friend and you don't have the ability to speak with the dead or to see other worlds like we do you believe it was actually imaginary friend in a tulpa? And I guess the difference would be, was it right in front of you and tangible, or at least, you know,
right,
looking physically real? Or was it literally only in your head and you're like, I never understood this with normal people? Like, you're actually talking to what looks to you like a wall. Okay. Or are you seeing with your eyes, not in your mind's eye? Are you seeing with your eyes something in front of you? Because I think that's the major difference between, you know, tulpa and actual
I think too, you touched a good subject there because you call them normal people, I call them casuals, is what I call them. I think most casuals don't know the difference, and what they may see with their actual eyes, they think they're seeing in their head, or vice versa. So until they understand the difference between the two, which is coming because
I
they're going
totally understand what you're saying. I get that face that I made is only because, again, like even as a kid, I couldn't understand it.
I couldn't
How
either.
do you like? I don't know. It's so weird to me. Like when I look over and I'm speaking to, I've got 3 spirits in the room right now. You know, and you guys got to sit over there until I'm done, and then I will deal with you. But how do you? I don't know. I never had much of an imagination. I never did. It
See
was something
now,
I always had a problem with because I would have real things in front of me. So to imagine didn't make
now
sense to me.
see, that was one of my problems, and why my parents thought the way they thought. Well, it doesn't help when I never slept either, but I had a great imagination, but there were times I wasn't sure if what I was imagining wasn't real. I know that face you made. And
What?
well, but yeah, it got weird for me because I did have a really good imagination. But I'd be like when I was younger, I'd be like out in my backyard playing with my GI Joes and stuff, and I'd be using my imagination. Then something would come and sit with me. But it was weird because
Oh, so you weren't sure if that was your
really
see,
what I
because to
was.
me, it's like if something's in front of you, it's obvious. But then you have to think of the mind of a little kid too. I was going somewhere with bringing up the new earth, and I was like, let me finish my one thought first, and then I kind of forgot where I was going. But I know from what my guides have told me. Oh, that's what I was going to say. So, what my guides have told me, and I'm not really permitted to share a lot of it, but they say like I have to keep it to myself. I usually will share it with you guys. I'll bring it up in some conversation, usually on Wednesday nights. That's why there's so many random thoughts on Wednesday nights. It's because it's stuff that I've learned that I'm allowed to bring to you. So, and I'll hold that thought. So, nobody that's alive right now or that's about to be born will be alive when we fully shift. But when I asked, like, well, are we even making a dent? Has it even started yet? I don't see it. But I do see a lot more people being, like I said last Wednesday, obsessed with positivity, right? Obsessed with, be kind. And yes, we definitely should. But be kind and be positive when you think no one's looking. Okay. Don't just do it because you want to be able to take a picture of yourself with the homeless people you just gave food to. Don't just do it because it sounds good for your YouTube persona and gains you followers on TikTok. Like it has to be a really deeply ingrained starting at the soul type thing. Now, if you look at us through the course of over hundreds, that's when you'll start seeing that we actually are coming a lot closer to the shift. So if nobody at all, and of course we have that pesky free will, so any of this could change. It could be different tomorrow. But as
Right.
of 3 days ago, when I had this conversation with my main guide, Aaron, he said that nobody that's alive right now or that's going to be born this year will be alive. But so that gives us what, say 106 years. That's like, I think the longest living person was like 111 years, but say like 106 years. He didn't say the same thing about the next generation. Like the kids that are being born now this year, their kids and grandkids. He didn't elaborate. And I guess I should. Also, yes, slow motion. Thank you. Real charity is done anonymously. Could the shift last centuries? Yes. And that, thank you, because that's where my rambling point was getting to. We actually started shifting probably, I mean, we've done it probably for the last 300 years. But from what I understand, it was like the last 150 years ago, the last 150 years with like all of the technological advances, believe it or not, some of the tech really does help us advance. A lot of it helps us remain where we are and stay in our ego and stay in ourself. but some of it does help. So I've been watching these Mandela effects, and I haven't had a chance to talk to Aaron about it yet, but I really do want to bring it to you guys once I do. And I do want to get to what you're saying. So even if he's not reading it, I'm going to put it up there.
I'm reading it.
Yeah. So there are these new Mandela effects now where, like, apparently in Germany right before World War, and I don't know, this could just be science that nobody knew about, but right before World War II in Germany, there were video chats. And I don't know I'm not a rocket surgeon or a brain scientist. So I don't I don't know specifically like pixels and all that, but apparently you made an appointment 3 days in advance. I believe it was 3 days. It could have been a week in advance. And you would go and sit at a public phone. You make the appointment at the post office, and you would sit at the public phone, and you would see the person so clearly that you would be able to tell the time on their wristwatch. Once, of course, World War II started, they had to get rid of the technology. How did we not know this?
Okay, that deals with mirrors. They used mirrors. See, the key.
I'm not talking about the tech. I'm talking about since when.
Okay, yeah. This has actually this is part of the ancient science and history that they don't like us talking about. This is a lot of stuff that I research. And a lot of this was wiped out because government wanted just like all this energy and stuff. Okay, well, with this type of thing that you're talking about, yeah, a lot of it was wiped out during both the World War I and II because they wanted to make profit. It's all political, and I know how you feel going into that. So
yeah,
I'm just going to say you're on the right subject.
Is it a Mandela effect? Did this all actually happen, or is it just brand new, rewritten into history? And I don't like talking about Mandela effects either because YouTube is a crybaby and you can get demonetized. But it just fascinates me that, the first electric and hybrid automobiles were like in 1899, and the first electric was in like 1700.
Battery operated cars.
To me, that's incredible. Let's get to a little bit of the chat here.
Yeah.
Brian, hi, and everyone else that I did not say hi to. The face I made. Yeah, Shelly, he knows. I'm very expressive. I learned to speak sign language fluently in high school. And one of the main things, because some of my best friends were deaf, you have to learn how to make and read expressions and lips. So I'm very expressive with my face, sometimes to my detriment. Yeah, Edna says, and there's a few things here.
I'm going to put them up.
I saw what I thought were the little people. They came every night and played with me. When they asked me to go with them, I said no. It would make my mommy and granny cry. Sorry. Then they changed into something dark and vanished. That's when I realized things aren't always what they seem. So can I ask you, Anna? It's very interesting. Okay, you said age 6. That was my first experience with the Fae, or the little people, as well. Multifaceted Jules, hold on to that because I want to try to stop yip yapping and let the chat get involved a little bit. But I'm just so excited. I have no one to talk to all weekend, and then you guys, I'm like, yay! What did it shift into? While you're typing that, if you can remember, I've got to get with you about that owl. I really do, because I believe you have suppressed abductions. But let's focus on first the little people. So do you remember like what they shifted into that you felt even at 6 years old was dark? Because I'll tell you, I was up at a place called Garrett Mountain. Yes, Miss Shelley. I haven't even mentioned the wolf publicly yet. And I haven't mentioned it to you privately either. And that's how I know you're coming into your abilities. So I was up at a place called Garrett Mountain with my dad, and the next thing I know, it was like 10 minutes later, and the police were up on Garrett Mountain looking for me, and my dad was crying. I walked into the bushes with this little person, and I went through what I now understand was a portal. I was there for like 5 or 10 minutes, but apparently I was gone for 2 hours, and my father thought that I had been abducted, and they told me it wasn't my time to come with them yet. So you saw the owl first, this owl that you've been seeing forever. Hi, Rose Tyler. Dark and hooded, can't see their faces. Yeah, that could also be, Stephen, you have your pen and paper?
1 second. You're making me take notes. It's too early. I'm not ready to be.
No, because I don't want to forget this thought.
Okay,
but I
one
want
second.
to.
One second. Reach. I don't want to get up. I have
So the dark hooded shadow people, I got a new theory on shadow people that I want to discuss by the end of this chat.
Go ahead.
Dark and hooded, that could also be the Fae, believe it or not. I didn't touch on it in my book. I was just coming into the research, and that's why I want to do a Missing the Fae Theory Part 2, which I probably will do at some point in the next year. That could also be Fae. And they do change. Yes, looked like Civil War era. So then you were not dealing with the Fae at all. You were probably dealing with either... See, I would definitely say demonic. I don't like the word demon really anymore, but if let's say demon. Demonic entities, but with the owl, it throws me off. You may be like me and have had several different things going on all at once, and because of that, it becomes even more confusing.
Oops, wrong one.
Because normally demons will come. They will come in the form of a child to gain the trust, or children to gain the trust of a child. Because if it had come to you, or if they had come to you as dark hooded figures, that could have a lot to do with, they really don't have permission to just take. It's kind of like when the BEK, even though we don't know what they are, and vampires, yes, they're real, have to gain entry. Like you have to give them permission. Demons need some sort of permission to possess or to take. Entities a lot of the time are there to take. That's all I ever get from them, to take. Even though I don't know, I know they're interdimensional. So you do have to give permission. By your saying no, see, I don't think they would have taken you with them. I simply think they would have overtaken you had you given them that permission. You could also have extraterrestrial protectors. Some of our spirit team, a lot of us actually, our spirit teams include extraterrestrials, elevated beings. So you could have had an who were working with your spirit team to ensure that they did not take you without your permission. Now that's free will. Oh, thank you so much, Rose Tyler. I definitely do appreciate that. Yay. Starting the morning off right, or the afternoon. Yeah, I lost my thought. But yeah, I believe that you have to give some sort of permission to be possessed. I mean, even just letting something in. I wanted to talk a little bit about this on Thursday, but I had some personal stuff going on and we had to end. Yeah, I wonder what would have happened too. There's a lot of different energy in what you're saying. And extraterrestrial. Go ahead, Stephen. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I was just going to say that happened to one of my grandchildren about a year ago. The ex had a mushroom circle grown in her backyard. And I just happened to be there while the kids were playing around, and I kept telling them, do not step inside it. Whatever you do not step inside it. And one of them was like, I'm going to. What's going to happen? I go, please don't. And
because you're not going to disappear on the spot.
No, but
you're going to bring the Fae to you. They're going to be pissed because that those are the entrances, right?
So I made her put up a little fence around it.
Well, I remember telling RJ, because there's a lot of mushroom circles in my backyard. Not all of them are Fae, but I can usually tell when they're Fae because they'll glisten a little bit. I can see them. I think RJ can too, because he tends to take his RV and ride over certain ones and then not touch the other ones. Now, Ray just stomps them. He just breaks the mushrooms. I came outside of my house and there was this fairy ring of rocks on top of where my sewer is in the backyard, because we have a big cement slab. I got excited too. He was messing with me, and so I'm like, there's no way it's real, but somebody had to have done it. So I said, are you messing with me? He's like, yeah, who else would have done it? And I'm thinking the fairies that have several portals in our yard, but of course I didn't say that. Yes, Miss Rose Tyler. Give me a few minutes because I have to do that from YouTube. After all of that, the gifts came. Probably what activated you. I think Jules had something.
Yeah.
Shelly, thank you so much that she wanted to say as well.
Let me find it here. She was talking about how her family said she was hallucinating.
Oh, okay, let me
Hold on,
see
I'll
this.
find it right here.
I was told I was having hallucinations when I was 35 years old. I believe
See, that's what they told me too.
Yeah, that's what they tell us. Either that or they tell us, you know, or I don't know if it was just my family, not my family, my dad and my stepmother in particular, who would tell me if I kept talking about the crazy stuff that they were going to put me in a padded room. And for good measure, they had my uncles call me and pretend to be the local psychiatric hospital looking for me. And it terrified me enough. Do you know what I mean? A lot of you probably do know what that's like to walk around as a little kid. And all right, for me, it was dead people, right? So we're sitting at the dinner table and I'm with my Irish Catholic father and my B word step monster. And there's the three of us and then 7 other people all there, constantly there in their death phase, which means they have not found closure. They haven't found peace. Probably their bodies haven't been found. Faces peeling off, missing limbs, gunshots through the face. And you have to sit there and quietly eat your dinner, pretending like it's not happening because you now have the fear put into you that you're going to be locked away should you mention it, right?
See, that was the problem I had, was because I rocked in my sleep and broke beds and never slept. That's what was always said to me. Oh, you don't sleep, you hallucinate, your imagination is so crazy because you don't sleep and you see things that you don't want to see. And actually, I did spend, when I was 7, a week in testing because they wanted to make sure I wasn't.
I have a theory, and it's not about all people with mental illness. Again, I'm not a doctor of any kind, but I believe a lot of people, specifically people with schizophrenia, are not mentally ill. I just believe they're enlightened and socially awkward. So you take someone who doesn't have good verbal skills or good thinking skills, maybe they're not very smart, as far as book smart. Then you add in these special abilities to see other worlds. A lot of them can see. I mean, I lived with one and was the victim of one because my schizophrenic alcoholic just happened to be abusive, very abusive. But they can see alternate realities. They can see and they see it all around them all the time. But because they're not intelligent enough, and I'm not saying they're stupid, but they're not like you and I where we can sit and explain what we're seeing. Maybe there's something else.
They just can't comprehend what's going on around them.
Right. I believe if I didn't have at least some support, or if I wasn't, and I'm not bragging, guys, I hope you know this, if I wasn't as smart as I was, I probably would have been labeled a schizophrenic and locked away. Because even in the 80s, that's what we did to people like that. Special people who just need someone to listen. And I always literally thought about going into being a therapist so that I can hear all of these amazing stories. I get emails constantly, like I did the compilation book, 101 True and Terrifying Stories. I want to do another one because people email me constantly with their experiences and they're like, I've never told anyone this because I was afraid. Or this is what happened to a patient of mine who was schizophrenic. This was what happened to a schizophrenic patient of mine 6 times out of 10. Like, that's how often people believe what their patient is saying, but can't do anything about it. Multifaceted Jules said, I also experienced spatial shifts at the time. I would be watching TV with my father and I would hear the people on TV a full minute before their mouths were moving. You know what they said? You and I have a lot in common. I can still do that. I still do that. I'll mouth, and I would mouth along. So then they look at you like, did you see this already? But, you know, back in the 70s, I guess I wasn't born yet, but I know in the 80s, we didn't have a lot of reruns where you couldn't just watch something. Like I've seen Hamilton, Steven, 300 times, probably watched 200 times in a row. So we didn't have the ability to learn these things. It was like the first time it was aired, it could be aired live and
it's almost the same. I have the same thing when I go to see a movie for the first time. Like I've gone to movies with Giles, and Giles goes, "You act like you've seen this," and it's like, I swear I have, and it's like almost having deja vu, but more realistic because, like when we went and saw Jurassic Park for the first time, I was like, I know this movie. Why do I know this movie? And Giles going, what do you mean? I go, this is going to happen. This, and I'm telling him things that's going to happen before they happen. He's going, how are you doing this?
Yeah, multifaceted Jules. Definitely my addiction. I thought my addiction was going to take it away, but not only did it amplify it, it also made it so that it was even less believable, because then it's like, oh, that's Gemma. She's high. So it did me no favors. And alcohol has not been my problem. I have a drink or two here and there. My medication blocks alcohol, so it doesn't matter. You're not crazy, and I guarantee you, and if I could ever find the time to really connect with you, I believe the owl, now hearing all of this, is definitely an extraterrestrial visitor, like I've been saying all along. But I feel like now it could be a part of your spirit team, and you've been protected your whole life because of these entities. Well, yeah, and in my 20s it was alcohol, and I admit now I was an alcoholic. But once I touched opiates when I was 27, I could no longer drink alcohol because I would get really sick. So now it's like nothing. I don't want anything except the one thing, right? The worst thing, the big H. So I'll have a drink or two because it's not my thing. I don't care about drinking. I won't do other drugs for obvious reasons, mainly because they're illegal and I have a baby to think of. Otherwise, I don't, I'm sorry, guys. I pull no punches with you guys. I don't keep things from you. I would do them because they're fun. But it never made anything better for me. It's not like the numbing that most people think it is. It's really not. I stopped drinking coffee. When you first said that, Gemma, I almost fell out. I saw a UFO. Yeah, Rose Tyler tried to come back. Multifaceted Jules and I have a lot in common. She's the only other person I know that's half Native Indian and half Irish, although her family's from different tribes. She has the same sort of energy around me. The other day, I got 4 years in December. I hit 4 years. Yeah, so longest 4 years of my life. We were doing a session where I was scrying, I was divining, I was automatic writing, and a lot of it wasn't really working. It wasn't dark outside. I didn't have the right lighting, but I promised her I would try. And she agreed to be my guinea pig. So yeah, when I stopped smoking cigarettes, I stopped drinking coffee. So I decided, you know what? Instead of using the scrying board with the rose quartz point, I was going to use the Ouija board. Now, I've told you guys before, I don't recommend it. It takes, it took me 5 years to learn how to use the Ouija board properly and safely. So please don't go and use the Ouija board thinking it's safe. It is not. But I was like, I'm going to use it for Jules. But every time I use it, it just goes to goodbye immediately. And it's annoying, right? Because I want answers, and I can get answers from spirit, but there's a tendency for my loved ones who passed over not to make appearances. And it pisses me off because I could see everyone else's loved ones. And I know I would see them if they came to me, but I think they keep themselves hidden because they know how upset it's going to make me. So anyway, I used the rose quartz point. And instead of just going to goodbye, I literally felt, normally it just moves my arm, right? The energy, it moves my arm. It was pulling on the rose quartz. It was pulling my arm down. I've never felt such strength come through a spirit board before. And it scared me because I knew they weren't there for Jules. I knew it was whatever's in this house. We got state-of-the-art brand new EVP recorder that we're going to be working with probably this week. And we'll do a live stream with that too. Like last time, but hopefully without all the static, because I used Necrophonic last time, which is a great EVP gatherer, but you can't record with it unless you use an outside recording source. we didn't get much the first time we tried, but we kind of just walked through the house. It was like barely nighttime, so we're gonna like do it full seance mode. And so my daughter got me these for my birthday.
Yeah, I like those.
They're so cute. I ordered a pair off Amazon, but they were like this big, and I like my dangles. Yeah, they were teeny tiny. Yes, I forgot about that. Jules says it growled, and I heard the thing through the phone. It was evil. It's constantly growling coming from the attic. Every time I say it's growling, everybody hears growling. We actually had to tell RJ that there's a stray dog that roams around because he was getting scared, and I don't want him to be scared.
Is that what you were talking about the other night, that one night?
Yes, I stopped introducing RJ to all of this stuff because he was getting scared, and I feel like he's not emotionally ready for it yet. I taught him how to protect himself, and I talk very generally about my work. But when she heard the growling, I didn't hear it. And I've never told you guys that. So for her to come up with growling, I know it really happened. Then we were disconnected, and she was compelled to automatic write. Now, I haven't had time to go over with her yet what she wrote. And Jules, I'd like you to save that for our discussion, and then we'll bring it to chat so we can try to decipher it. But yeah, it was shut down. She's never automatically wrote before. She didn't even know what it was when I was doing it. Like, so for her to do that, and you just connect with people, and when they're full of crap, and when they're, even if you don't call them out on it, right? And she's an honest person. RJ is 4.5. He will be 5 on July 13th. His father is extremely uncomfortable with what I do for a living. He's uncomfortable with my gifts and my abilities. He's uncomfortable with the fact that it is generational, and 3 of my 5 kids have it. RJ is my only child with me and him. I was introducing RJ to it all, and it caused a major problem between me and his father. So as a compromise, I decided to back off and let RJ come to me with questions that he may have and answer them as reasonably as possible for a 4.5-year-old. But there are things he knows, like I never watch things that are scary. I don't even watch true crime anymore with RJ in the room because he's a little kid. I don't want to scare him. So I was doing something. I was putting up a thumbnail or something. I was in my office at home, and he happened to come in the room. And he's like, "Oh, that's Alien Z Blue," or like he named this particular gray alien. And
he gave it a name?
I'm Googling it. Like, is this a cartoon character? Nothing. And I believe it was something like Z Blue. It was something very strange that you would think is a cartoon alien. Nothing on ZEBLO, the alien. I looked everywhere, Z-Blow. I tried spelling it 500 different ways. And then he had told me that there was, a light in the sky, that the ship was looking for me when I was visiting my mother. But I agreed with his father not to talk about it. So I don't ask him about it anymore. And I don't teach him anything more than what I have to out of respect for his father. Because, when we have these gifts and abilities, a lot of the times people think it's up to us to respect their peace of mind.
It goes both ways.
Right. Well, instead of maybe considering, trusting your loved one that they're not psychopathic or crazy or hallucinating. But some people just are very closed off. Steve Dushavy from the Dead Files is one of them. He said in all of the seasons, 15 seasons of Dead Files, getting to know Amy Allen the way that he did, he loves her. He adores her. He knows she's an honest person. He believes her. But he's still not sure if he believes in ghosts and spirits. Not because he doesn't believe in her, but because some people are very closed off. And my son's father is one of those people.
He's a cop by nature. And he was a cop by nature before he was a cop.
Detective,
because a cop questions everything.
Well, Ryan, in some cases, I'm sure they are crazy. I don't like that word, but yeah, crazy. But when this is someone who you've known for a really long time and they're otherwise very reasonable, rational, intelligent, why would you automatically go to there's something mentally wrong with them when they're telling you that, the spirit of your mom is coming for a visit, and then they know factual information that you never told them about your mom because they never met her. you don't automatically go to this person's insane, I need to call the psych ward. But I think sometimes it's just too scary. And sometimes people have too much going on to want to have to deal with a whole other world now.
I know that look too.
Yeah, we all know that look very well.
Yes. Hey,
well, you won't get that look in here. Except for when I'm giving the look to Steven.
Yeah, she does that a lot too, and it makes me want to go. I didn't do it, I swear. Okay, I did it, but I didn't mean it.
I have had something I called George since I was little. It has been around my whole life. Well, if you want to talk about it publicly, or you can email me. Inquiring minds want to know.
George may be a guide, because if he's been with you that long.
Well, what I want to know is it malevolent or benevolent?
Oh, that's a good question. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? Does he help you?
Because we don't have malevolent members of our spirit team. In Primitive Tribe, the schizophrenic became the shaman. Ryan, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Is that we're just not even willing, not we, but like people, humanity is not even willing to.
Because that's been the train of thought since the beginning of time. When people don't understand, you're a wacko.
Yep.
That's the way it's been since
when
human
something's
nature.
Different, it's wrong. And that's one of the main things, like, I'm so proud about Wednesday nights. We talk about everything there. And there's never any kind of judgment. There's never any animosity. And I just love it.
It feels good, is what he said.
Shelly, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like, you know, and if you're, like I've said, if you guys have known me on YouTube for 3 to 3.5 years now, right? A lot of you have been with me from the very beginning. So if I were to come to you guys and tell you I saw something completely off the wall, I don't think 95% of you would immediately say Gemma's full of crap and unsubscribe to my channel. I think you guys would be more interested in what I saw and hearing more. So imagine someone that you've been in a relationship with for like 10 years, you have a child with, and then they finally open up to you and they're like, listen, this is actually something I've been dealing with since I was little. And you immediately go to they're insane. Yeah. That's not reasonable. That's like you're acting like an insane person, because that's not a reasonable thought to have.
Now he says it feels good. He says George feels good.
Good.
So
can you describe him?
Yeah.
Is it like just a light? Is it just an energy, just a feeling? Is it a being, or is it like some kind of, I mean, like there's so many things it could be, and based on what it presents itself as is most likely what it is. So the shadow person thing I wanted to talk about. Yeah. And call you a witch, but like the most derogatory way to call you one, right? It's like using the C-U-N-T word. When someone calls me a witch, I feel like they're calling me the C word. Honestly, like that's how offended I get. What's up, Eris?
Sneaky.
Baby UFO, hold that thought. So I was watching something last night, and the woman said, first of all, her job description was folklorist. I thought that was so cool. I'm like, what even is that anyway? But so she said that she believes that, okay, so if you see a shadow entity and you feel like it's malevolent, there are some people who have felt like they've seen benevolent shadow entities, right? So she said that is your energy, man. I don't know if I believe this, but it was interesting. Your energy. So whatever your reaction to, or no, I'm sorry, not reaction. Whatever the energy is in your home. So if you're a highly stressed out, highly uptight, worried, constantly fearful person, she said, shadow entities will be a manifestation of that. And you'll deal with malevolent shadow entities. If you're a happy-go-lucky, peaceful, enlightened person, then you'll manifest nicer shadow beings. But I've been attacked and stalked by malevolent creatures my entire life, even in the last 5 years or so when I've been coming into my awakening. So it was an interesting theory, but I'm not sure I can back it up. Just in energy. Yeah, that's a member of your spirit team. Probably your guide. Some guy walked up to me in a store a couple weeks ago. I mean, you might be sorry, my ear itches and I can't put my finger in because my nails. You might be. A lot of us, I believe, have extraterrestrial and or Fae blood in us, which is why even if you don't have activated abilities, you probably have a lot that are dormant. You know, I see people on TV all the time that I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's one commercial. What's up, unidentified? There's one commercial, and I wish I could remember what it is. The guy's talking about how he saved money on his daughter's like healthcare because something was wrong with her. And now he takes her camping and stuff. It was a cute commercial. And you could tell the little girl, like by looking at her, that she had something wrong. But she's a hybrid. So whether this child in this commercial or ad was an actress or whether she was actually the child in question, she was a hybrid. And that's probably what was wrong with her medically. She's one of the ones that should have been kept on the ship. And it happens too.
I don't know. I've seen so much. There was a kid that I went to. It was in my senior year, and he wasn't in school for very much. I don't know if what the deal was, but when I first met him at the smoking lounge, because we had a smoking lounge.
So did we.
And it was weird because he always came off as somebody not from this plane, is what I would tell people. It's like, this kid doesn't belong here. This kid is something different. And he wouldn't say much. He always gave people kind of weird looks, had kind of a weird behavior. And then he was like he was in our senior class for like 3 months. And then I remember after Christmas break, we didn't see him anymore. It was really strange. Nobody really knew his name. Somebody said his name was Stan, but he wouldn't say nothing to anybody. He always kept his distance and watched from a distance. It kind of reminded me of me when I was younger. You know, I'd watch people from a distance.
That's definitely hybrid behavior, though.
That's what it felt like. But he definitely, when I was always around him or tried to approach him, always gets this feeling like, I don't know. You know,
you have
I don't
to
think
remember
too.
Here. You have to remember too, guys, that not all, like some hybrids are born hybrids, more than likely due to abduction, right? Including with the Fae. You know, us women have this gorgeous guy appear out of nowhere, one night stand us, leave, and then we're pregnant, right? I say we, even though that's never happened to me, but it happens. And it happens to men too, just to a lesser extent with the Fae. A lot of hybrids that are allowed to be born here come from abductions, memorized or not. A lot of them don't look human enough. But then there are the hybrids, and there's a book called Rachel's Eyes that I talked about in one of my more recent videos, since I've been at my mom's, about hybrids, where they're here to infiltrate from a lesser race. And I say lesser meaning a lesser, lower vibrational. So this teenager or kid could have actually been an infiltrator. You know, he could have been here to pick up information.
It was weird because he had one blue eye and one green eye.
Oh, my son has that.
And it was really weird because his green
Kyle
eye
has that. It's heterochromia.
Really, and his green eye was really a bright green. I mean, it was
Kyle's
a bright
blue
green.
One is blue. Yeah, you know, and that is like, that's one of the reasons I know my son Kyle is very, very sensitive. Not everyone with heterochromia will be that way, but a lot of extraterrestrials, we think reptilian mainly, right? I mean, let's be real.
I don't know if I'd call him that. He didn't come off as that type. He just felt like he didn't
what I'm
belong.
saying is like, we think reptilian. But there are some good reptilians, or so I hear. I've never met them. I've never met a good reptilian. But they're not always they don't always have to be reptilian. They can be any race, you know, of actually. Listen, we're here on Earth. I think it's so egotistical, narcissistic, whatever the word you want to use, to think that we are the only beings in all of, I don't know if the galaxy or the universe is bigger, guys. Like I said, I'm not a science person, but in the entire galaxy, in the entire universe, that have a planet like ours and life as we know life. Okay. whether they're visiting us or not, I don't know, but there's no way we're the only ones. So I always watched the show Fringe. I loved the show because
good show.
Miss Shelley, I'll talk to you privately because I feel like you've got a lot going on there.
She always does. That poor lady.
I know. I feel so bad. I try. The show Fringe I liked because it was a pretty accurate description of what alternate realities are like. They threw in a lot of drama, obviously, because it's a dramatic show. But if you just look at how, Martin Luther King was on the $20 bill instead of whoever's on ours. And they would say, instead of do you have ID, they would say, where's your show me? Little things like that. Now the characters, as far as is there a blonde or redheaded Gemma Jade running around on, an alternate realities version of YouTube, I don't know if it's that specific. But as far as how the world was, and eventually from traveling back and forth, the Fringe team was creating this rift that was destroying the other world. So they had to close the door, right? So, they had to stop. And I feel like that's what would happen if we were interdimensionally traveling. Like people say, like by 2028, we're going to be able to time travel. I just don't see how it's possible. There's a theory that I kind of believe in that some shadow people are actually time travelers from the future or the past who are here to gain information. So while time is not linear, we do have linear time, obviously, on Earth, but it's a man-made thing. Who is being dispositive?
I was just going to ask that, but I'm also saying, hello, Eric. How are you, Paranormal Highway?
Hi, Paranormal Highway. Touch me and draw back a nub. I want your pancakes.
Pancakes.
Lara, sure. We've got a lot to go over Thursday, but we can definitely do that. Hello, Paranormal Highway. So good to see you. I love when newer people come in, people that aren't with us all the time.
Good old Eric. He's, Eric.
Yeah. Galaxy, which is in the universe, which is why we don't know. Yeah. No, you don't have to shut up, Shelly, at all. You may be able to. What's up, Peppa? Get some answers in here. But what I'm saying is if you want to text me afterwards, so we can talk more about it more directly. Mairead, hi, honey. No problem. I'm just glad you're here, wifey. See, this is the good thing about streaming at noon Eastern, because we can have people from across the pond, people in Ireland, that are usually asleep by the time we do the Wednesday and Thursday night stream. So
I love that. I love seeing all you people. It's great. It's a good Monday. This makes it a good Monday.
I've got the Gothic Oracle by Anne Stokes coming today. And yesterday I picked up this little ditty from the Crystal Shop. I'm really excited about this one. Pretty good messages. Sometimes they get a little too mythical for me. And it's like, I want messages where people can relate more to them. So this one's a little bit mythical, but it's a great deck. The artwork is just fantastic.
Oh, I like that.
There is some nudity in some of them. So I'll have to watch that. But I mean, they're just... This is Face Your Dragons. This is actually one of the 3 cards I pulled for myself.
Hey, Nick, what?
As well as the other. What's up, Nick? And then this one. So they're beautiful cards. I can't wait. The Gothic Oracle is one I've been waiting for a really long time.
Well, I like Anne Stokes. And if that's an Anne Stokes deck, it should be beautiful.
I forgot to bring the Hourglass in here. I'll show it to them Wednesday. So I got this beautiful double dragon, Anne Stokes 15-minute timer, black sand Hourglass. It's gorgeous. Yes, nudity, Nick. You came in at just the right moment.
What timing, man? What time?
So 2 new decks this week I'm really excited about. We're going to end in 10 minutes, guys. I got to go to the store with my mom. And I've got to get the April Patreon personals started today, hopefully done today. If you guys want a personal intuitive oracle reading from me, all of that information is in the description box, as well as information about all 3 of my books. I finally fixed the description box for everything. I'm pretty sure for this stream too. This might be the only one I forgot.
Just make sure. either next time you put the Venmo account in there so people who can't pay the
Yeah,
other
I'm
way.
gonna have to do that Wednesday night because the thing is I have to do it when I put the stream up, and
I
you
know.
know me with deleting text messages. So
I know.
Nick Wise, so far this has been bi-weekly. If
Now
I
I
can,
have surgery next Monday, so we're gonna do
right.
it the phone.
If we can do it every week, it's pretty much whatever Monday we're available to do it, that's when we're going to do it. But if we're not going to be live, I will definitely have a pre-recorded at 11 a.m.
And you guys got a double treat today. Not only did you get her from 11 to a quarter till 12, that was a long video. That was an awesome video too. You
Thank
had
you. I've been
chat
wanting
going
to
to
talk about
town in there.
tulpas for a
Yeah,
long
there was
time.
the chat was hopping in that today.
I wanted to go in. I was awake. I was cognizant of the stream for once,
I told
but
him
I
you
was
were
getting
listening.
ready for this stream, so I wasn't able to do that. So yeah, a lot of info. Also about things that I sell in my shop, and stuff like that. The boxes and all that kind of stuff. The live one-on-ones that I do with you guys that go for about 4 to 6 weeks. And when you purchase that, you also receive a box from me with like anything you may need. So when I look at you and see your energy, see your attachments, you tell me what's going on, and I'll send you a bunch of stuff to help combat it, walk you through how to use it. Yeah, I tried Paranormal Pixie to make it like with enough time for you guys to get to the premiere and then come in here, but like you had to be right on time. All right, guys, I'm going to end it. I love you guys. I will see you on Wednesday night. I have 2 new decks, the Divine Nature Oracle deck and the Gothic Oracle. Steven, I will message you later. And good luck, love and light, and peace and prayers to all of you. Thank you so much for the donations. Don't forget PayPal and Cash App, links in the description box. That is how I get paid. So, all right, love you guys. Bye.